Blockbuster is dreaming of creating a huge chain that would not only sell electronic gadgets, but rent movies and games and then sell you the machine to play the games on. That's the reason they just bid $1 billion to take over Circuit City.
Oh, so the dream they had and the stores they've got isn't enough.
No.
I thought you said that they were dreaming of that, and then, boom, here they are.
Circuit City would become Blockbuster Electronics if they are able to pull this off.
Why do these things happen in cycles like this? All of a sudden,
well,
every company wants to buy another company.
This is a great time to buy. Stock prices are depressed. Everything's down. It's a recession, which we're in, by the way. A recession is a magical time for guys that have cash.
We know we're in a recession now because John McCain said so.
Some of the richest people in America are guys that had cash when the Great Depression came around in the 1930s, and they bought everything they could. And then when the Depression was over, they went from being rich to being mega rich.
And they didn't give that stuff back to the people that lost it?
No.
What a mo.
Yeah.
Well, that would have been the nice thing to do.
Remember, American life is like a giant poker game. At the end of the game, there's one guy that has a lot more chips than the other guys, and he's the guy that played the best.
That's how it's supposed to work. Now, of course, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, both of them want to turn this thing into just a commie, pinko, bedwetting society where everybody, at the end of the poker game, everybody gets their chips back.
Well, they had a plan where everybody shared everything equally, unless you were the leader. Then, of course, you got a lot of cool stuff. It was called communism. That didn't work out too good.
It hadn't worked out there, but they're going to bring it over here and see if they can't do it right.
Yeah. Oh, so not only that, Blockbuster is looking to move out of the movie rental game because Netflix is kicking their ass, basically.
Well, what else is Blockbuster going to do? That's what they do. They rent movies. That's what Blockbuster does.
Not if they buy Circuit City. Well, now sell you stuff
that you can watch the movies on.
And then we'll rent you the movies in there where you're buying the stuff, see?
So basically, they're admitting
that Netflix is kicking their ass.
They have lost the battle of renting movies.
It's like you see Starbucks now in full-blown panic after being the fastest-growing franchise operation in the world and opening up all these, 3 stores a day somewhere in the world. And they would even put them across the street from each other so they get the traffic going both ways.
That has to stop.
Well, now that people like McDonald's and other people are putting in baristas and making this high-zoot coffee that they're selling for much less money.
And they got a few locations around the world, too, don't they? That's
trouble. And they've even admitted so much. They're kind of like in a panic mode right now. So this happens. It's what when Americans, when business dudes in America, Wall Street greed types, see somebody over here making money and making more money, they go, well, let's go over there and get some of that money. Let's go tap in. You know, when McDonald's saw Starbucks, and they probably had meetings somewhere in the high ivory towers.
And they read their financial reports and their stock reports.
These guys are taking tap water and ground beans and turning it into billions while we're fighting for meat prices and got like pita nuts outside our door. Let's go sell some of this, squish those beans with that tap water and get some of that money.
Coffee's easy, and it's hot right now, if you'll pardon the pun. Coffee, get it? It's hot.
Thank you. I guarantee
that was funny.
I guarantee you that was tossed out in a meeting somewhere.
Yep.
Just like you were there.
Coffee's hot right now. We got to get on that.
Yeah. Now people are worried about retailing chains are getting caught in a wave of bankruptcies. Why do we worry about bankruptcies? Really? I mean, seriously.
Same reason we worry about some people starving, and even though it's not our people, we still worry about that.
We shouldn't, because let's face it, think of the number of businesses that were here 50 years ago that you no longer hear of anymore. Where's your Hires root beer on the shelf right now? Well, they went out of business. People come into business, people go out of business. 50 years ago, if you'd asked somebody, where's the nearest Starbucks, they would have gone, what?
Ain't no Starbucks.
Now it's one of the biggest companies in the world.
Well, back then, maybe not even 50, it was only at Pike's Place.
Since last fall, 8 mid-sized chains as diverse as Levitt's Furniture, Sharper Image, and others have all filed for bankruptcy.
I see. I used to like Levitt's. Levitt's was high end when I first got married. Levitt's was where you went and looked at the stuff you wish you could get.
The dream store.
Oh, yeah. And you might get one thing there. You might get a little table for the side of the couch or something, and you picked up the rest of your stuff at garage sales and places like that.
Well, now that we got the big economic downturn, the Foot Locker is going to close 140 stores. Ann Taylor's going to shut down 117 stores. Zales is going to close over 100 stores. Surging costs and necessities has caused America's belt tightening. Harley Davidson shares are down massively on the stock exchange.
I was waiting for you to give me an idea, and you just did. You said this is the time of year, it's the season, things are down, we should buy stuff. We should buy Harleys.
No, I meant investments. Like
well,
stocks.
It is an investment. It'll only go up in value as you keep it in the garage. We should buy Harleys. That's why you're not an investment
Thank
guru.
you, Randy. Appreciate it. We should run out and buy Harleys right now.
You're the one who said it was time to buy stuff.
Well, I meant like houses.
The company. You should
stocks,
you should buy
real
Harley
estate.
Davidson. How much would they want for Harley to buy the Harley Davidson company?
It's a publicly traded company. You'd have to
Gather all
buy the controlling shares. Yeah,
and you'd have to give them a premium on the share price.
Right.
So
you'd have to hire an investment banker. We know how crooked those bastards are.
And then, of course, you have to be prepared for this move. I love this move. You get everything settled. The deal is done. And then at the 11th hour, that's what they call it, the 11th hour, because it's nearly midnight.
Right.
And then the bankers go, you know,
the economy's not as good as it was when we struck
when
this deal.
When we made this deal, things were different. I think what we're going to need is a better rate. Or we're just not going to be able to go through with this. It happens every time major corporations buying and selling each other. I don't know why people get shocked by it.
Being in the banking business is a great business. I mean, look at what happened. They screwed up with all these stupid loans they handed out to everybody who was unqualified to get loans.
What happened? The government bailed them out.
And now when it caves in, please help us. Thank you.
But they're the biggest Indian givers in the world.
Yeah. Cody, what's on your mind?
Yes, sir. Good morning, you magnificent SOBs.
Cody, you buying Harleys with us?
Oh, whenever I get enough money.
Times are tight, brother.
Now's the time. Don't worry about the money. You'll pay for it later.
Don't listen to him. What's on your mind, buddy?
I'm pretty sick of all the money the government's wasting, the $200 million overseas, the 40-something million to send out to
billions. That's just one place. It's billions and billions of dollars going to countries all over the world.
What I'm saying is we still have 200, 300 families living underneath the bridges in New Orleans.
See, this is his point. The families living in the bridges,
and
tent cities.
There's people like that in every city in America, and there's people way worse off. Those people living under the bridges in New Orleans have it great compared to the people that live in Africa.
Don't listen to Bono's protege over here. As long as one American is suffering, not a single tax dollar ought to leave this country going to someplace else. Zach.
Morning, guys.
Morning, Zach.
Hey, I once worked at a shipping terminal up in Memphis that shipped out what you guys were talking about earlier about the USAID and the food products.
Yes, sir.
And they shipped out all kind of commodities, and it was labeled as USAID, and USA was all over the packaging.
Yeah.
Well, there were some that went out that wasn't labeled, and I once asked the inspector what was the difference in it, and it was a USDA inspector, and he said that stuff went to countries that didn't want his people knowing that it was the United States giving them the food. That's why it went out unlabeled.
Don't give us credit for it, whatever you do.
They hate America, so we better not scatter bags of USA rice and wheat around, or they're liable to just waste it.
Oh, my God.
You stupid, hungry people, I swear.
I know. Jason, they're not grateful. We're wasting our money. Go ahead, Jason.
I think the stimulus package is a joke.
Of course it is.
I don't feel stimulated.
It's ought to be called, relabeled the low end of the spectrum vote buying package, because that's what it is.
What scares me about it is the fact that the market is going to go up again. Things are going to get better. And now in the back of everybody's mind, the government helped us out.
Of course, they saw that coming. This was basically like the stimulus package because, we really are in debt, and most of the money we spend, we have to borrow to keep paying for the huge infrastructure of the Internal Revenue Service.
Maybe some of those credit card companies can talk to Bush and the government and tell them how they can make their payments better.
That's pretty much it.
What's going to happen?
It's like we went around and it's like a family was having on hard times, and dad had been out of work and mom had been out of work, and their house payments were behind and their car payments were behind, and they couldn't pay their health insurance bill. And so dad goes out and those little checks they send you with your credit card, you can turn them into cash.
Oh, yeah.
Dad went out and cashed a bunch of those checks and look at this money we got. Woo! We're stimulated. We got money. They put it on the credit card. That's what we just did with the stimulus package, only on a nationwide basis. Coming up, let's talk about Marilyn Monroe having sex
Well, all right. I was about to throw a taser report out there, but I mean, if you chumped me, I'm gonna have to keep my taser report.
Hey, let's do both. Stick around. 1-866 I love WJ.
You're listening to Walton and Johnson.